graduate, Randy Jessen, and I participated in 2 webinars with the Federal Department of Transportation. They hosted those talking about the Tiger Grant, so we're all gathering this information and how the system works. But we do need some additional assistance from CMT to assemble this information along with our other partner in Washington, D.C. and our staff internally. So what staff is bringing to the board for consideration is just a time and material assistance that would be provided by CMT to finish the Tiger Grant application. At a future board meeting, we would provide the board with an update as to how the process is coming along. So that's in essence the request for this evening, and staff recommends support.
Well, I move that we approve professional service agreement with CMT, the standard time and material hourly rates for support services. Their proposal says that they'll notify us if we go 50,000. We need to put that in there. Right now, we're approving an open-ended contract for a 2-month period. Probably won't exceed 50,000, but do we have a need to do that, or is the fact that they say they'll notify us if it's over 50, and you'll come back to us and let us know?
That's in the contract, and we would notify the board if we were even near that level too as well. You'll see it's noted that SP Friedman's in here as well, because we need to gather this is a really intense application, so you have to talk about cost-benefit analysis and all these things, you know, job creation and different things like that. So it's very important that it's done properly if you even want to be competitive in the process. So
I'm all for it. I still want an open-ended one.
I understand.
Some feedback. As long as you get feedback to us,
Yeah.
if you get to that, close to that limit, then fine. I have no problem. It's great.
we will do this.
The motion was made and seconded. Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Renson?
Yes.
Trustee Wajowski?
Yes.
Trustee Panucci? Yes. Trustee Land?
Yes.
Trustee Burke?
Yes.
Thank you, the motion carries.
All right, changing gears. I know we missed a few of the students here, but we'll probably see most of them back at a tour at the wastewater treatment facility, because Doug, Mr. Kissel behind me here is always very gracious in hosting chemistry, biology classes at all the high schools at our wastewater treatment facility. That being said, we have 5 large pumps, and they're actually 6 foot tall when they're out of the ground and pulled out of the ground, that have been installed as part of the original plant, the original phase. They're over 15 years old. The driving units, which we call them VFDs, variable frequency drive units, they're complex electrical piece of equipment that actually allows the pump to ramp up and ramp down. They actually run almost continuously when they're in their cycle, which actually saves the village a tremendous amount of electricity. So this bid is not only for the replacement of these pumps that have outlived their useful life, but also all the electrical equipment that is associated with that too as well. We've bid this project out. The engineer's estimate was $220,000, and our low bidder came in at $205,630, and staff would recommend approval.
I would recommend that the board approve and authorize the president to accept the low bid for $205,630 for replacement of the WAS pump.
That motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Renson?
Yes.
Trustee Wajowski?
Yes.
Trustee Panucci? Yes. Trustee Land?
Yes.
Trustee Burke? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, the motion carries.
Thank you. The next item that we have has been discussed by the board in the past too as well, and as part of the budget process. We're really excited about this project. It's actually in part the refreshing of Settlers Park, as the board is aware, many people in the public are aware too as well. There's tuck pointing that's needed, replacement of limestone out there, replacement of electrical lighting and things of that nature. The electrical part of it is actually in the $50,000 to $60,000 range, so you get an idea of the magnitude of the street lighting, the conduits, and some of the electrical panels that need to be replaced related to that. Also, there's a nice component in here that's included in the Veterans Plaza, where each one of the monuments will receive, if approved, a decorative concrete finish, like a stamped and stained finish, with a knee wall, extensive landscaping, lighting for all of the war memorials, as well as the American flag out there that's needed, and then a comprehensive landscaping package for that entire area. Included in this on the Settlers Park side are the resetting and replacement of brick pavers that are needed, concrete work that's needed out there too as well. There's some cracked and offset concrete sidewalks and walkways, pathways, and also some landscaping improvements. And that's actually the smaller part, but we're replacing trees outside of the village hall here where we had a nice grove of ash trees out there too as well, which Public Works did remove those trees. So in essence, that's the crux of the project. We did receive a very favorable bid, well underneath the engineer's estimate of $293,000, and the low bid from DJ Landscaping was $263,686.68. Staff recommends.
Are there any comments or questions?
I have a comment. Alan, is there any possibility that pump will be repaired that's in the lake? It's really a highlight when, prom kids come, wedding people come to get their picture taken with it. Plus, it's really an amenity for the lake. It's really beautiful.
The pump's been refurbished, and we actually have new cable for it too as well, so that'll be installed. That'll be installed this spring as well and operate through the summer.
A secondary question. One of my young neighbors asked me, is there any possibility we could get another alligator for the lake? You remember the...
We can work on that.
That was the highlight. The geese didn't like it, but the kids loved it. The alligator would go all around. Obviously, I'm only telling you, if no one knows, it is an artificial alligator. So I think the muskrats ate them.
If this was Florida, we probably wouldn't put them out there.
No, we probably
But,
wouldn't. No.
we can look into that, definitely, that's for sure.
I just had one question, I'm sorry. So there's a number of line items that were part of the actual bid process, and I was just curious as to, is there any way maybe to possibly save some costs by having some of those items that could be completed maybe by existing employees? Is that a possibility?
Well, we did look at that, and actually the ash trees were all removed by our staff in-house here, and the grinding of the stumps was completed by our in-house staff too as well. The plantings not only come with, the actual work that's being completed, but also the guarantee that's behind it too as well. And you got to think about it in magnitudes of scale, that many of these plantings are not huge, but the vast number of plantings, it turns out to be a good sized contract in that you do get some discounts related to that, and then you get, guarantees related to it too as well. So we've done our part we believe we've done our part as far as removing the trees, and we believe that in this case, that it's best to contract out the remainder.
I think there was just, for clarity, I think there was still a line item in there for tree removal and snow removal. So I don't know if that work's been done. Obviously, we should be billed for that.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, if it's not going to be undertaken, of course, it'll be an adjustment in the contract and be taken out. But I'll definitely take it.
Are there any other comments or questions? Not for seeking board consideration of a motion to authorize the village president to award the 2016 Settlers Park Refresh and Memorial Plaza Improvement Project to DJ Landscape, Inc., the lowest bidder, in the amount of $263,686.16.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Grassett?
Yes.
Trustee Wajowski?
Yes.
Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Land?
Yes.
Trustee O'Rourke?
Yes.
Thank you, that motion carries.
The last item that we have is we did reach out to our supplier that provided the snowplow truck, 2.5 ton, larger, actually one of the largest units that we have, snowplow truck in our last season. And that it was through a cooperative bid, very similar to the state bid process. And we requested that the supplier provide the same price, if possible, for an additional vehicle, because we knew that we do need another vehicle. Now, to give the board a little insight, there are 2 vehicles that we have that are actually 1994s. They're 22-year-old trucks. We hope to get 20 years out of a large 2.5-ton snowplow truck. We have 2 vehicles and we've gotten 22 years out of them. So we've had some mechanical issues with these trucks. The vehicle that was authorized by the board last year and purchased and received replaces one of those 1993. It was anticipated in the budget, in the draft budget, that we purchase an additional truck to replace this 22-year-old truck. And that luckily, or fortunately, the supplier did state that they would honor the prices from last year, the same price. We would actually receive, the truck itself would not be a 2016, it would be a 2017, so we're 1 model year newer, but with the caveat that the approval had to be made before the end of this month. So we wanted to bring that opportunity to the village. We've been told that the state purchase price next year will increase because that's generally the way things go. Vehicles become more expensive over time. And that we believe that this is an opportunity to get the process started. I can tell you the last truck that we ordered took over 8 months, just over 8 months to get completed. From the time we ordered it to the time it was completed. So the earlier, I'm urging the board, the earlier you order a piece of equipment like this, the better the likelihood is it'll be here in September or October. And that's what our goal is. So I would recommend, or staff would recommend approval of purchasing this Peterbilt truck at the quoted price.
I move that we authorize the purchase of a 2017 Peterbilt Model 348 snow plow truck and equipment from JX Peterbilt Enterprises for a total cost of $158,983.11.
Second. The motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Beck?
So the new truck being added to the fleet, with the snow contractors, is this something that we do need to spend money on? In other words, it is going to be, if I heard you right, a replacement, correct?
That's correct.
Because the contractors and everything we talked about last year, hiring those who are in the snow and all that stuff, is still going to be.
Yes, still going to be needed, and again, it goes back to this snow removal discussion. Our goal is to have the manpower and the equipment to take care of a freezing rain event in a reasonable amount of time, because it's very difficult to predict and contract that out. And then the contractual services actually goes beyond that to supplement it, and we believe that's the most cost-effective way to do that. But again, keeping up with fleet replacement vehicles is very, very important, and this is an important purchase.
And you're saying that this was captured in the proposed budget for next year?
That's right.
No, I think it's important that I want to thank you for stressing that it takes 8 months to build one of these. It's not like we can just go down to the car dealership down the street, buy it, and drive it home the next day. Because I know there are some, and mine was one of my concerns too. And why are we buying a snowplow in March? What if it takes 8 months? That alleviates that concern.
Any other comments or questions? Motion was made and seconded to authorize the purchase of a snowplow truck for the total cost of $158,983.11. Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Rassik?
Yes.
Trustee Wajowski?
Yes.
Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Land?
Yes.
Trustee O'Gore?
Yes.
Thank you, that motion carries.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Police chief's report?
Thank you. The first item I have on the agenda is requesting the board's approval for the purchase we had to make approximately 3 weeks ago for a monitoring unit, controlling unit for our HVAC system at the police department. Approximately 3 weeks ago, our HVAC monitoring and control system went out to the police department, and we had to make an emergency purchase. The system that we purchased, well, the original system, I should say, was with the original system in the building when the building was built back in 2005. So it had effectively reached the end of its life. The new system that we did purchase does include the added feature that will give a notice, either through email or text message to the people that we've designated 24 hours a day, so in case there's a problem with the system, they can be notified immediately to go in and adjust or check whatever's going on. We didn't have that in place for this last system, and unfortunately, the system went out in the off hours, so it wasn't until the next morning that we knew what the problem was once we started checking into it. So I am requesting the board's approval for the payment of the system that we had to purchase for the HVAC unit in the amount of $19,975, and that would come out of the police building account, which we do have the funds through Mechanical Incorporated.
Chief, how long is this unit supposed to last, the one we bought?
The one that we had and the one that we bought generally has a life term of about 8 to 12 years. So the previous one, we fit right into that time frame. This one, again, we hope to last about 8 to 12 years.
Move that we approve the contract.
Go ahead.
I move that we approve the contract with Mechanical Inc. Bring HVAC unit monitoring system back into service for a cost of $19,900.
Second.
And motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Rassich?
Yeah.
Trustee Wajowski?
Yes.
Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Land?
Yes.
Trustee Orr?
Yes.
Thank you, the motion carries.
Thank you. The second item I have is a maintenance contract, renewal maintenance contract for the company that maintains our shooting range. In previous years, since our shooting range went in when the building was originally built, it was a year contract. This time, the company, Best Technology Systems, has offered us a 3-year contract in the amount of $9,930, which is only a $35 increase for the 3-year extension. So I am seeking board's approval for the approval of the contract with Best Technology Systems for 3 years in the amount of $9,930.
So moved.
That motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Rassich?
Yes.
Trustee Wajowski?
Yes.
Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Land?
Yes.
Trustee Orr?
Yes.
Thank you, that motion carries.
Thank you. The next item I have is also a maintenance contract with Fulton Technologies for the maintenance of our outdoor warning sirens. We currently have 12 sirens around the village, located around the village, and this maintenance contract would cover the maintenance of those 12 sirens, the controllers that go with them, and also for the replacement of a couple batteries that are in the current sirens that are reaching the end of their life. The maintenance contract with Fulton Technologies would be in the amount of $6,526, and that's what I would seek the board's approval on.
I move we renew the outdoor warning system annual maintenance contract with Fulton Technologies in the amount of $6,526.
Second.
That motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Rassich?
Yes.
Trustee Wajowski?
Yes.
Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Land?
Yes.
Trustee Orr?
Yes.
Thank you, that motion carries.
Thank you. The last two items I have are the PEMA report and the Police Department Operations report for January of this year. If anyone has any questions about either report, I'd be happy to answer. Thank you.
Attorney's report? Reminders?
March 9th will be coffee with the mayor. March 10th will be Historic Preservation Commission meeting. March 14th will be our next committee of the whole. March 15th will be our planning commission meeting. And the 21st will be our next regular business board.
Seeking a motion to adjourn. Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All those, thank you, that motion carries.